from the financial capital of the world. The opening bell is going to ring in 5 seconds, and to be honest with you, we wish it wouldn't.
Traders here working the phone say a lot of their customers are freaked out, waiting to see how low the Dow will go. They're focused on the Dow, not so focused on OPEC. Yes, OPEC did cut production by 1.5 million barrels per day.
Really, you're seeing just broad-based declines across all of the major technology sectors. Apple's under pressure, Yahoo down 8.5%, Cisco 6.5%, Research in Motion 10%.
And we're not getting the bid wanted. We're not getting the stop trading, and we see where the buyers are. We're just, every day they're pounding it.
The heightened financial turmoil that we have experienced of late may well lengthen the period of weak economic performance and further increase the risk to growth.
Can't look at it after you buy it because it's so horrible.
But we've had an 8-day losing streak in the Dow that in percentage terms puts it on par, close to the loss suffered in that crash in 1987, close to that percentage loss those 2 days in 1929.
What started in America last year has now spread to every part of the world.
We're down 9% today. The Xetra DAX over in Frankfurt is down by 9%. The Paris market down by 9%. Austria, which was briefly suspended earlier on in the day, is down by nearly 11%.
This market is as volatile as you'll ever see.
Traders saying this is the craziest day they have ever seen in these markets. Veteran traders saying they've never seen anything like it. The movement in oil prices so fast.
You guys remember? That was crazy times. Good morning. Thought I'd join you guys as I have my coffee this morning, and missed you guys the last couple days with my anniversary and everything going on. I need to recoup and rest, hang out with my wife, but man, we got to talk, so I had to come on. I could not go this weekend without doing a live because it's getting interesting out there. It's getting really interesting out there with Trump hitting the bell and then all these economic numbers coming out. So then yesterday we're seeing spikes and Finger. DJT is killing it. The other meme stocks looking interesting. Gamestop. I mean, wow. So yeah, I don't know if you guys are ready, but things are starting to. Listen, always could be a turnaround. So I'm not playing Nostradamus over here, but I'm looking at the numbers. They are not pretty. So we're going to go through all that this morning as we drink our coffee. So cheers, especially if you're on the West Coast. You're going to need a lot of coffee for this one. It's early over there. But let me say hey to some people. Some good mornings. Good morning, Troy Man, number one. Counterfeits, what's up? Vin Man, Tom FP. Good to see you guys. Blue 5, Pat Shagoya, BN Pro, Joe Scarpaza, Silent G, Richie Rich. Do you guys like the mornings? I wish I could do morning lives more often. It seems like a lot of you guys are chipper and ready to go. CJ Yukon, Justin Purdue, good morning. Nick Raum, Connie Neely, The One, Jack Wolf, John Doe, Jack Hamilton, Chad C, David, Patrice, Danny, Mad Max. Love it. Good to see you guys. I was like, who's going to join this morning? Because there's a lot of, I don't think I've ever been on this early, just to be honest. So we'll start the weekend right. But you like my background? Yeah. Trump claws. Oh, he's over here. Trump claws. Yeah, that was fun. I like to have some fun with the holidays. So yeah, he's going to bring us glad tidings this year. We're gonna, whatever happens, no matter how bad it gets, we know hope is coming. We know things will turn around because this man's on his way. So it will get better before it gets worse. But speaking of Trump, it seems like he issued a warning here to Cramer. Did you guys see this?
You've got a ton of things to do, but what can you say to the working person who owns stocks? Should they buy more stock?
Well, I don't want to get into a situation where they do and we have a dip or something, because that can always happen. You know that better than anybody in the world.
Not going to tell people to buy stocks, because what could happen? Maybe they could lose their money. I don't know. He could just be being Trump. He could just be trying to be evasive from a question he doesn't want to answer, not financial advice kind of thing. But at the same time, is it possible that maybe he's telling us what's coming, at least for the moment? What was Trump always in the old days? Get into the stock market. It's going up. It's going so well. And now he's like, well, maybe you shouldn't get into the stocks right now. Who knows? So I don't know, but lots of interesting stuff going on. We're going to run through a lot of it here. And thank you, Danny. This is happy anniversary. I appreciate that. 16 years, my wife and I. We've made it, and I hope for at least 50 more. Yeah. Marriage is a wonderful, beautiful, hard thing. And it's just like everything else that's difficult, it also can be the most rewarding. And I think marriage, to me, has been the best decision I've ever made. It got my head back. Well, it got me focused. Because when you're single, you only care about yourself. You can do whatever you want. You got all the time in the world. Marriage and having kids focused me on my life, direction of my life, what I wanted from my life, my career. All that was really helpful. But I still had to learn a lot and grow up. And the first decade was very bumpy. And it was good mostly, but bumpy. And then I went through a deep depression for a couple years. Almost lost my wife. Got out of it, learned a lot more about being a man, grew up, and won her back. And now we're doing the best we've ever had. Last 2 years have been the best of our marriage, and right now probably the best ever. And you know what? It's amazing. It's the best choice I ever made was marry my wife. And so, yeah, it's been great. And we got 6 beautiful children. And yeah, I'll tell you what, marriage is the #1 indicator of financial success. Did you know that? Marriage, and then the second thing is owning a home. So if you do those 2 things, you are above, you're moving ahead of everybody else. But yeah, that's one of the reasons we've had such a split, is the attack on marriage the last 50 years since the feminist movement, really. So yeah, it's but if you find the right person, do the work, it's the best thing. It's the best thing ever. So, all right, let's keep moving through this because there's so much to go over. But ace withdrawals, appreciate that. Danny says she used to believe Kramer and watch him all the time. Oh man, didn't we all? I mean, I think there was a time when we all just didn't know. Mad Max says economy gonna be hurting in January. Oh, yeah, just wait. Based on what I'm seeing, I could see a rally flip around, but I don't think it's coming. But you know what? I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. We could still be enter a rally. So we have right here, I'm not going to play this clip because it's 9 minutes, but it says Michael Saylors is added to the NASDAQ on December 23rd. MSTR, which I don't know, but it says, meanwhile, Interactive Brokers CEO is warning about a massive margin call on Bitcoin loans. That's scary. All right. So margin call starting to come on crypto with this massive crypto rise. People are going to be expected to pay off margin loans, all that. And if there's margin calls there, it's coming everywhere else. Let's keep moving. China has the steepest 10-year drop in yield we've seen since September 2008. Listen, we're headed towards what could be another Asian collapse of the markets over there, just like the 90s. The problem is that this time we're much closer tied to them, and this could be the thing that pushes us over. I'm watching this very carefully. China and Japan just looking terrible. Murray says, so much for Trump fixing corrupt naked shorting practices. He's talking to Citadel honchos and even accepting one of their jackets. My thoughts. My thoughts is Trump loves to keep his friends close and his enemies closer. It's that simple. He just invited Xi Jinping to the inauguration. He went and made friends with North Korea. And you know what happened? During his presidency, both those countries were on notice and didn't budge. Trump is the ultimate, like, art of the art of war, Sun Tzu guy. You've gotten so used to these idiot politicians who play games and actually always get us into worse situations by acting tough. Trump doesn't act tough. He just is tough. And when you are tough, you're not scared. He's not cozying up to anybody. He doesn't need their money. There's literally no proof of that. His stock is being crushed by them. Ken Griffin hates him. Come on, do the math. It's like you saw one photo op. Trump is always great with people in person, even if they're his enemy, because he wants to talk to them. He wants to make deals, and he's going to be the guy who's super nice to you, but if you stab him in the back, he'll kill you. And that's how Trump is with this stuff. I wouldn't worry about it. I was disappointed he didn't talk about short selling while he was there, but you know, Trump's Trump. He's going to play up the opportunity to be on TV, to cozy up to everybody, and he's going to bring it when it's time to bring it. So Mad Max, Bitcoin's loans, margin calls, what idiot shorted Bitcoin? Yeah, right. Jack, this whole thing has to do with finger. Okay. If like, stop asking. I hate this. Jack, appreciate you, man. But yes, if you don't understand how this whole talk about the economy has to do with finger and everything, then I don't, it's like, what do you not get? I'm talking the economy. You should be glad. Bob, thank you. I'm glad to be here too. It's nice to be early and sip my coffee. All right, let's keep moving. Japan, its 10-year yield is spiking up. What happens when it touches the trend line? Well, I'll tell you what happens. This keeps moving this way. This is going to have significant issues with the yen, which could bring on the unwinding of the carry trade much faster. That was the last time that we had a massive attack on the Dow and the NASDAQ. Okay, they were getting crushed. And so we, sorry, I lost track of my thoughts for a second there. That's another potential catalyst. Listen, everything right now, and I'm gonna keep showing you guys because there's so much to show. Everything right now is at this tapering point, this teetering point where the foundation is not just got cracks in it anymore. It's starting to be shaken. And the question is what's going to be the ultimate thing that finally pushes it over, or is it just going to be the sustained rumbling and it finally crashes? So, but this is all the stuff we got to look out for. Gretchen asks, Ace, was there a catalyst? Got you out of my depression, returned to joy with my wife. That's an excellent question, Gretchen. Yeah, I'll take one side and just take 1 minute on that. Yeah, you know what the catalyst was, Gretchen? I was so in my own world. I didn't realize how much I was hurting her. And anyways, she basically told me that she's getting ready to leave. And it's what we call in my guys group that helped me out a lot, called it the slap, because it's like the big wake-up call. And my whole life, I'd wanted nothing more than to be a family man. And so to me, marriage was forever. And it woke me up, and I said, okay, I got to get my stuff together. I had some friends who had been involved in a guys group that saved their marriage and this program. And so I jumped in, and I learned a lot about myself and how I'd been basically a boy in a man's body in many areas of my life. And so I manned up. I learned a lot about myself and got some help. And yeah, just I was ready to change, and I changed. I got better, and yeah, and it changed everything. And then it took about a year till she fully trusted me again, really believed I'd changed. And then ever since that, it's just been amazing. So thanks, Gretchen. US1 says, do I think Pelosi will make it back to the US, or does she want to? With her broken hip, I don't know. She'll probably be back. She's got to make her stock money. Jordan, do I think Ham's prediction for finger 220 being the trigger point is weight to it? We're almost 230 after hours. If you're right, next week could be. Well, here's the thing with the trigger point, Jordan. Trigger point does not mean it's automatically going to cause buy-ins. That's not what he means by that. And because we've passed the trigger point before. A trigger point does not mean it's going to start skyrocketing. What a trigger point means, and what Ham means by this, is that now they're underwater completely. And by being completely underwater in every one of their positions, they're now bleeding cash, which means It's much more likely they'll be margin called, and it's much more likely they're in trouble, which could start causing stuff. And the further it goes up, the more that pressure mounts. So that's what he means by that. Mad Max, you still believe Finger will have some kind of pop before DJT? Maybe. You might. I mean, you might be absolutely right. I could see running to 3 or 4, but I still don't know if it'll have that big run, that big pop, like squeeze pop before DJT. Yeah, CJ, you're right. It's worth it. Physical silver and gold down. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much. Physical silver and gold is not an investment. It's a store of wealth. So, you know, have some of your money in there if you want, and just to save yourself through the hard times, maybe scoop it up if it does plummet. But yeah, so. All right. Did you guys see this with Elon? So Financial says shit's about to get crazy. Elon, Gary, how could you do this to me? There are Gary Gensler and the SEC are going after Elon to get his monetary payment, settle his these counts against him from Tesla, all this stuff going on, and Elon's out there calling him out. So this is this is coming to a head. This is going to be very interesting to see this play out, but you don't mess with Elon. And so again, Tesla's just been skyrocketing since the election. It's up like 50%. It's a heavily shorted stock. Tesla could be the one that breaks the market, at least the shorts. It really could be. And we don't talk about it as like a meme-ish stock too much because it's so expensive. It's very hard for retail to get into Tesla in a big way, but Tesla still is the biggest and the OG in all this. And it could be the one that if he breaks the shorts, it could cause all hell to make. So, or hell to break out. So that's something to watch as well. Steve Bannon out there having a talk. I'm not going to play this because it's 5 minutes long, too long, but we're in the worst depression in 100 years. He titles this. They go through the economic numbers. It's bad, people. We're living in a fake inflated bubble that is just it only looks good on paper for politicians and elections, and that's what they wanted. But it's not good for the people, and they were so stupid. They thought they could convince us all that we were in a great economy based on their numbers, what they're pointing to, especially the unemployment rate. Meanwhile, people out there are struggling, can't pay their bills, are going deeper into debt, losing their jobs. It's been awful. And the thing is that when the foundation's rotten, eventually it catches up to everything in a wave usually, especially when you're hiding it. The house of cards comes tumbling down. So I shared this on X. I recommend listening to it. It's really good stuff. Okay, let's get into some of these numbers. S&P 500 value stocks have declined for 10 consecutive days. Nobody's talking about this because it's been weighted up by the stock market in general has been weighted up by Tesla's rise, some of these other large caps, but the small caps are getting crushed. And 10 days, look at that. Look at that decline there. Longest in history losing streak, 10 days in a row. Why is nobody talking about this? This is kind of terrifying. We're possibly already in the beginning of a stock market crash. We got to keep watching this. Again, coming into January, Trump's inauguration, we could see a bump, but we might actually be in the beginning of it now. This is a major red flag. This is something you watch out for, and you say, we need to watch closely, because most of us, anybody paying attention, sees this coming. The question is always when. That's always the question. When does it break? And when you find stuff like this, you say, oh God, it might be right there. So we're going to be watching, see if Monday that trend continues. But already, so every day from now on out, every consecutive day from here on out is a record, which that's pretty insane. So the question is, will this be a record that people talk about in history? We should have seen the signs, or will it be a blip and they find a way to bounce it back? I don't know, because they're already spending money at record rates. Here we go again. Dow Jones casually dropped over 1,000 points since last week's peak. No one's talking about it. Not only has it dropped over 1,000 points since the peak, the Dow right now is in a 7-day downtrend, 7 days in a row downtrend, which is the longest since 2008. We've just not seen this happen before. In fact, this one was such a big deal. I'm sorry, since 2020, the crash of 2020. Even CNBC couldn't ignore it, and they put it as their #1 headline. So this has got CNBC watching now too. So once it starts making those kind of headlines, you know they're worried. But 1,000 points down, but it hasn't happened in a day, so it isn't big news. That's a lot. That's a lot. Michael Tucker says, on Making Money with Charles Payne on Fox Business News, they indicate GameStop shares will be going to 100 and beyond. Oh, I think that's absolutely possible. Yeah. What I don't think is possible with GameStop, Lord, that's good coffee. What I don't think is possible with GameStop is a massive squeeze, like 1,000 points beyond. BAM, and I shared this a few days ago. BAM wrote an excellent piece on why it's almost impossible to have that kind of MOAS numbers anymore in most stocks. And GameStop has been so diluted now. I just don't see it happening. But could it break 100? Easy. I mean, it's almost 1/3 of the way there already. Now, that's not that big a move. That just means it's going up. You know, it's a 300% growth, which that's always possible. Yeah, Ronnie. Yep, you're welcome, Gretchen. What's up, Vince? Joe, do I still hold DJT through the crash? Do I pick a price and sell, hoping it follows the market, get it low 20s? Man, Joe, I can't give you advice on that. I can tell you exactly what I'm doing. DJT, I'm following people I think are the smartest in this who are actually following it. I have friends who are market geniuses, whether it's BAM, Investor, Jim, or Pedro, or Ham, all people I've had on this live, all people a lot of you guys follow. And the numbers on DJT are crazy. But we live in this real world where there are a lot of forces at play that could keep it from hitting those massive numbers. I'm just looking to make a major profit. So if it breaks, I'm going to be watching momentum, and I'm hoping for some huge squeeze. Right now, it's my largest holding. And based on what I'm seeing in the market right now, if the market's not completely going crazy, we're not seeing huge short squeezes, I'll sell in the 80s, maybe 100, depending on where it's moving. And then if it goes back down, I'll rebuy in. If it moves really fast and we see a huge break and it's jumping by 20, 30 points in a massive short squeeze, well, yeah, then I'm going to try to hold higher. But I'll be trading DJT as long as it has no debt and it's tied to all these people I really trust to deal with this stuff. But I think DJT, Finger, even GameStop, a lot of these stocks, they're not going to be fully done until we see some kind of sustained squeeze. Maybe it's slower and it just goes higher, like, and reaches, say, like Tesla numbers, but it's happening over time. So they're slowly getting the shorts out, or it just has a huge spike. Either way, but there's no set. I have no set plan because there's no way to. With these highly manipulated shorted stocks, it's impossible to know how they're going to move. It's just impossible. You can guess your best, but so my plan changes based on what I'm seeing all the time. And I recommend, most people do the same and take profits while you can, because the worst thing to do would be get caught holding the bag when it goes down. That would be the worst thing. Honey Badger, right on. What's up, more free? Mad Max, reason I think Finger can go first because price is low. We got one main short, it doesn't have billions, lots of news coming. And that's a good point. Lots of good points there, Max. I do see those points. All right, so this is this is one person's experience. This doesn't mean this is happening everywhere, but I am hearing more and more stories like this. This tweet came out. It says, my wife's company just spent the last week doing layoffs. Last time they did this was 2008. Take that for what it's worth. But I found that interesting. Saw it the other day, so I wanted to share it. QE Infinity, Great Fall, says this market better get rolling soon next week or the Santa rally is dead. Market's been terrible this December. Very unusual. That's absolutely very unusual. This doesn't usually happen in December. Guy had been saying a bad feeling about December the whole time, and we have, again, this S&P see more stocks decline than advance for 10 consecutive trading days. More stocks decline than advance for 10 days in a row. Longest such streak in at least 20 years. When the signs are there, you pay attention. Meanwhile, short sellers are now under federal investigation for collusion. This is from Frank Nez, who covers market news excellently. I already showed you guys margin calls probably coming for crypto, especially Bitcoin. Short sellers under federal investigation. Isn't it funny how all this stuff starts happening now that Trump is president-elect? We have all the health stuff getting cleaned up. They're going after the seed oils. They're going after the food dyes. And now we see short sellers are finally under federal investigation. I mean, this is great. If they're under federal investigation, this means the investigations are already going on when Trump comes in. He puts Pam Bondi in there and Kash Patel. They look over these investigations. They direct them in different ways, but the momentum's already there. They already have information waiting for them. Excellent news. Excellent news. And this is going to put pressure on them. Just this alone, this headline, short sellers are going to see this. They watch Twitter. They know they're paying attention to what's going on there. They know this galvanizes retail. When retail gets galvanized, it can throw a big wrench into their plans, especially if they know everybody's watching them. This is very good news for us. Bob, XRP is maybe bank, he says. Good for you, Bob. Augustin Vasquez, hoping for DJT to run, get more finger. I'm in the same place, buddy. Damn it, Sean, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Good to see you. Now we keep moving. All right, now this is interesting. So the Truflation numbers, I don't know if you guys saw, but inflation came in hot this week, above expectations. If you've been watching this channel or following a lot of economic analysts ever since we first cut in September, we all said we're not done. Inflation's not beat. Well, now they've cut rates twice, and guess what? Inflation's already rising again. It's back on the rise. So why do this? Are they trying to just kill Trump's economy? I think that's very possible. Are they trying to just let off some steam so that the economy can crash, so that it can be rebuilt and it goes through the pain it has to go through? That's also possible. Did they just cut to get people excited before the election? Another possibility. Whatever it is, whether it's one of those or all three of them, they're playing games. There's no way in hell the Fed knows it was okay to cut. There's just no way in hell. There's no way they could not have seen this coming. It was too easy. I don't have the data they have to look at. I'm not as smart as those guys or as experienced as them. There's no way in hell this isn't purposeful. And I mean, look at this rise right here. Look at this chart. Here's September when they cut rates. And just look at that rise ever since. Okay. Down to month over month, we were down to 1%. And now we're back over 3%. That's significant. And it also means this inflation is something that rises quickly more over time. Every month, it'll keep creeping forward, especially if they go forward and cut again. I think we have a meeting next week, right? FOMC. If they cut again, the fix is in for next year. The fix is in for the beginning of the year, and they are going to let this economy fall apart. Now, I have heard one other person has a theory, Tom Luongo, who I really like, actually. His theory is that Powell did this on purpose it's going to be like playing whack-a-mole back and forth with the rates, with inflation. It's going to be like, hey, we tightened the markets. Now we're going to loosen them up a little bit so that there's more capital. Yes, inflation will go up, but it won't go up insane. We'll deal with it, and it's going to go back and forth to ease in Trump's economy so that we don't get as huge of a crash, but it also stays kind of uncomfortable with pricing and everything for a little bit longer than we'd all like. I don't know. It's an interesting theory. I just, with everything we're seeing in the markets, I just don't know how we don't have at least temporarily and quickly something pretty massive coming. Bob, you've been holding Finger for 3 years. It's coming. We'll all make more. Yeah, well, Finger, I mean, Friday was awesome. I'll talk about the stocks at the end. Let me get through some more of this economic stuff. All right. If you don't believe they're pumping the economy or trying to, no, here's more evidence. U.S. federal government spending hit a whopping $669 billion in November. Why the hell are we spending almost $700 billion in 1 month? That's 2/3 of $1 trillion. Our budget used to be like $2.5 trillion, and it still is, but they're just spending us into debt. We're spending like $4 trillion a year. As a result, 6-month average of government expenditures rose to highest since 2020-21. We're spending the same amount of money we spent in COVID. And we're in a peacetime with a roaring economy. Make it make sense, people. The Biden administration is doing everything they can to screw us over. They are spending now and destroying our future. That's what they're trying to do. If Trump didn't get in, guys, they would have used all this to just absolutely crash everything and ruin our economic future, use that as an opportunity to usher in their socialist utopia vision. That's what they would have done. Why? There's no excuse for this. There's no excuse for this. But the fact is, since 2022, we should have been in a recession. We should have just let the pain happen. And ever since then, they've just been pushing it up with government money. And this is just insane. It says at the same time, government receipts dropped to $380 billion, which means in 1 month, we spent over almost $300 billion in debt. We're just financing our present right now. Our government is living on credit cards more than it ever has. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Exceeded government revenues for 17 straight years. So there's your Obama economy. And before anybody tells me, well, Trump spent the most ever. Yeah, he wasn't on track to until COVID. Okay, so there's that. And then number two, he got the Obama economy. Okay, 12 of the last 16 years, we have been a country run by Democrats. That's just facts since 2008. So 16 years. So the last year of Bush, which is when the economy crashed, and then Obama comes in, and ever since then, we have just been spending more than we bring in. That was their plan all along. Bankrupt our country so they can bring in what they want. Trump came in a 4-year window in the middle of that, got it to the point where that budget deficit shored up a little bit until COVID came, and then he was put in the position of having to spend more. But Biden has just taken us off to the moon on this. And now 17 straight years before our government has had a year where we weren't significantly in debt. Over this time period, total U.S. debt skyrocketed by $27 trillion. $27 trillion in 17 years. That's crazy. We were at $9 trillion in debt in 2008. I remember even back then, people were always freaking out about the government debt. And Rush Limbaugh, of all people, delivered this speech once on why our government debt doesn't matter right now because it's completely fundable. And at the time, I thought, Rush, that sounds crazy. But at the time, now looking back, he was 100% correct, because now we've quadrupled that in just another less than 20 years, and we're still surviving, but now we're starting to face a crisis. So when Rush was saying we can handle $9 trillion in debt, he was actually right. What he wasn't right, or what he didn't see, is this, that we would quadruple our government debt for the entirety of our whole nation. 240 years, 230 years, 9 trillion in debt we accumulated, and 20 more years, we're up to 36 trillion. That's insane. And you can just see here this spread. This is year by year. So here is, this is all the way back since 2000. We had a couple years here where the green went over the red, and then the gap widens in 2008. And this is Obama's economy, fake economy. You see where it tightens a little bit there with Obama, Trump, a little bit, and then the COVID, and it just took off. This is just insane. It's insane. This is so unsustainable. All right. Dario's out there saying Titanic just hit the iceberg. Remember at the beginning, no one believed it could sink. Then when they realized it was going to sink, they figured there weren't enough lifeboats for everyone. Make sure you secure a seat on a lifeboat before it's too late. What is he talking about? Well, he's talking about this. The yield curve. It just inverted again. And we're in, that's usually a massive signal. Massive signal of trouble. Here's the rate cut, and here's the spreads, and we just crossed. Most people are still paying off last year's Christmas debt, so there you go. That's fun. It's just like, there's no good news out there, people. I'm sorry, on the economy. This is just insane. It's insane. Why is Trump keeping Powell? That's a great question, Hobbs. Officially speaking, I don't believe the president is supposed to be able to fire the Fed chair. He would need significant reasoning to do so without Congress getting involved to stop it. That's just the sweet deal that the Fed got. I think he could go through it and fire him, but yeah, I don't know. And as bad as Powell's been, he's still the best Fed chair we've had in 30 years since Volcker. And that's not saying much. That's not saying much. But when you look back at the other ones we've had, Yellen, Bernanke, Greenspan, they were all just globalists, insane people. Powell's not a globalist, at least. He is a private equity guy. And if you want the proof of it, just look at how he's run the Fed has actually crippled Europe. He hasn't done any favors for Europe and Asia, whereas the others did. And Yellen and Powell hate each other. So I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if Powell and Trump's feuds are more public than private. But maybe they're playing a game with us. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. What's up, Cindy Lou? Yeah, Jack, we're not talking football anymore. It's too depressing for me. James, they're selling the border wall steel at auction. Yes, Biden is selling all the steel for the border wall very cheap. Toe cramp, perfect time for a boomerang. Trump with the mandate from the people can't default on the corrupt Fed system, usher in non-fiat on system. Yeah, we'll see. I hope that's right. I have great hopes for it. I don't know if that's such a massive shift. I don't know if he'll be able to accomplish it right away unless there's a crash. Now, if there is a massive economic collapse, as horrible as that would be, it would also be the open door to get major changes done, including possibly abolishing the Fed. There are things that abolishing the income tax, but Trump is a constitutionalist. He's still going to play the game with the Senate. He's not going to be a dictator, despite what the left would tell you. And so there are certain things that he just won't be able to get done unless there's a crisis. In a crisis, everything changes. People change. Look at the New Deal that started our current welfare system, happened in a crisis, the Great Depression. That's the only way Roosevelt was able to get it through. Everything Obama did happened because of a crisis. In COVID, the lockdowns, all that stuff. Could you imagine if we'd had a Democrat in charge in COVID times? Our country, we wouldn't be doing this right now. I'll tell you that. We'd be in a much, I can't even imagine how bad things would be if it hadn't been Trump in charge during COVID. So it's a crisis is where massive change is accomplished quickly. And so, yeah, Toe, I think it's possible if we saw that. Vince says 1 billion or 1 trillion in debt every 100 days. It's insane. I know. Bob, we've been in recession since the GDP dropped 2 quarters in a row. It was either 2021 or 2022. I think it was 2022, Bob, but you're absolutely right. Augustine Vasquez, one way to do it, go after these short sellers, let us make some gains so we can kickstart the economy. We won't make enough money to kickstart the economy, trust me. But we should do well, you know. But that's a lot more money than that to kickstart the economy. Max says, most of that money is spent in other countries while we have debt. Well, actually, most of that debt is to the American people through treasury bonds. So a lot of it is to other countries. Don't get me wrong. I think China holds $1 trillion of our debt. So does Japan. But it's mostly the American people they're in debt to, and the Fed. Vince, what's the Fed? Is it part of the government? No. Ever notice every Fed chair is Jewish? Just saying. Is Powell Jewish? I don't know if Powell's Jewish. But yes, I know the Fed is not part of the government. When I say globalists, we know it's the JWEF. Yes, well, that's a big part of it. They're like the masterminds of globalist plans. When I say globalists, I mean yes, that, and I also mean just the entire world leadership trying to bring about this United Nations one world government type thing, where it's not like one world government like a lot of people used to think or still think. It's not that, but it's very similar to that. And it's that, you know, all the world's governments come together. We do everything together. They control the people together, that kind of thing. And that's what I mean by globalists. That's why they try to tie us all together. So, yeah, that's what I mean. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, like, share, subscribe to help the content, boost the channel. Appreciate it. Did you guys see that the other day my video got taken down? They just flat out destroyed it. They were like, nope, because we talked about vaccines on Wednesday night. It's funny, I was rewatching the video, and in it, I do say, oh, this video is probably going to get taken down by YouTube, and sure enough, it did. I edited out the vaccine stuff. I posted it back up, and they haven't come back after me. But the full version's on Rumble. But yes, thank you, Kevin, because liking, sharing, subscribing all helps, especially because YouTube does not like my channel, the powers that be, because, you know, I'm a free thinker who doesn't agree with their politics. So, but thankfully, Trump's coming in and putting pressure on Google, so I should be able to stick around YouTube for much longer, which is good, because as much as I'd love to fully be on Rumble and X, YouTube still has the biggest audience, and I want to reach as many people as possible. Damn it, Sean, let's talk rugby. I don't know anything about rugby, so yeah. Oh, it is a good point too. Remember buy now, pay later? Pay never, he says. That last year, all that money, buy now, pay later, is not on your credit report, and it's not reported, but because of that, the consumer debt problem is much, much worse than it even looks on paper. So just remember that as we go into Christmas this year. All right. If you needed proof how banks are fabricating deposits via playing ping pong with cash between each other, hide liquidity hemorrhage, here you have it. You aren't having hallucinations. U.S. banks alone lost $1 trillion in the past 9 months. In the last 9 months, banks have lost $1 trillion. Look at this insanity. So you have cash assets in blue, deposits in red. Look at this spread. Let me make this smaller so you can see the full thing. So heading into the year, their cash assets right here, way up top. Okay, they're doing okay. Plummets and continues plummeting. This is their assets, the bank assets. Meanwhile, here's the deposits. So I experienced that this week. I had a check come in, and my bank told me as soon as I deposited, they said, you know, I got the notification, thank you for depositing, blah, blah, blah. And it said, you will receive your funds in 3 payments. And they said the first day you get, it was like a quarter of it. And then 3 days after that, they're going to give me half of it. And then the final quarter comes almost a week after I deposited it. They gave me the dates broken up how it was coming in. And this is not that large of a check. We're not talking something that's, we're talking something that's just in the single thousands. And they can't give me my deposit in a full day. It's going to take 3 days over the course of a week. How the hell is that possible? Unless this is true, that they're ping-ponging their money back and forth because they don't have the cash. And so I personally am experiencing this now. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't even a significant amount. That's insane. How can I not get my money right away? And so this is worrying. The banks are in major trouble. $1 trillion in losses just this year in the last 9 months. We're on the verge of a banking collapse. That's just get ready, guys. Get ready. Scary stuff. Counterfeit says, like, share, subscribe. I spent a lot of my personal time. Oh, yeah. Best YouTube channel? Counterfeit, you the man. Thank you for saying that. That means a lot. Honey Badger. And then they'll use Project Bluebeam, fake alien invasion, unite the world under one government. We were talking about the drones last episode. It's not... listen, I told you guys my theories on the drones. I have not seen anything to change that since. I don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's a distraction. I really do. But we'll see. We'll find out. Vince says, watching my show and not being a member for 10 cents a day is same going out to dinner, leaving no tip. Vince, we don't need to strong arm people into becoming members. But if you do want to become a member, I will be doing a members live either tonight or tomorrow. And if you want to join in on that conversation, get the extra content, get the Discord, hit that join button. It's only $3 a month. That's all I ask. So Max says, whose money did the banks use? That's a good question, isn't it? What bank do I bank with so I know to stay away? Well, that was with SoFi Bank, which is one of the largest online banks there is, and I've had zero issues with them. They've been wonderful until that. So, yeah, put my money in credit unions. I know. I need to. It's just such a pain in the butt to shift banks. Danny, in October, you tried to put in buy the neighbor's Jeep. Went to pull out $5,000 cash to pay in cash, and they say $2,000 cash per day was the limit. There you go. Holy smokes. That's a sign of major issues. That's so they can prevent bank runs, which is a huge problem. All right, let's end on some stock talk, because I know you guys want it. I know that's why you guys come here. Not really, but it is one of the reasons you can. It's maybe the reason you started watching. But, okay. I'm going to talk about DJT first because it's my favorite right now. And it's my show. So, sorry. DJT continues its run. It's looking great. I just believe so much in this stock. If Hams out there keeps saying if you're doing buy the rips, sell the dip, or sell the rips, buy the dip, sorry. You're doing great. And that's absolutely true. DJT continues to up and down perform really wonderfully. And it just the overall trend though keeps going up. It's only a matter of time until there's a breakout here. There's so much pressure on this stock. Trump's out there. Apparently last week, Mar-a-Lago, there's a big meeting. Devin Nunes, a bunch of the DJT people meeting with people Ham knows, talking about short selling. So I'm telling you, this is just a matter of time. I can't see anything against the case for this stock right now. And that means I probably have a blind spot. And so you guys can help me find my blind spot. But honestly, it just has nothing but good stuff going for it. No debt, major deals they're working on, getting into crypto, getting into media. It's like, this is just, the company itself is doing well, and it's just tied to the most powerful people in the world who also are going to be, there's, to me, and it's heavily shorted down. I would not be surprised if DJT, even without a major short squeeze, is like regularly trading over $100-$200 by next year. I would not be shocked at all. It just, to me, this is, it's not financial advice, but if I had more to buy right now at these levels, I would. Let me just put it that way. I'm so excited for what's possible here. Next, let's talk about Finger, because Finger had its best day yesterday in a very long time. Finger is awesome because you can get in so low at these prices. It's still incredibly cheap. This is my second favorite. I still think this has the best potential for a major short squeeze. So it's my favorite when it comes to short squeeze potential. And it's my second favorite as far as long-term potential after DJT. And the only thing it doesn't have going for it at this moment is that it just hasn't had that major deal, major attention yet, in my opinion. Other than that, I love the company. I love the CEO. I love the people involved. And again, we're starting to finally see strength come back. I mean, look at this. Let's go back to the 5-day. You see, it was barcoding forever. Let's go back a month. We just have not seen much in Finger, but life is back in the stock. Life is back in the stock, which tells me it's probably, we'll see if this momentum holds Monday, but if it does, I think it might be a good time to start looking to accumulate again. This tells me maybe somebody knows something, and we have been hearing that the dividend, there's an audit finished. We're hearing rumors, and a dividend should be coming soon, announced. That will spike the stock as well once that's finally announced. So really, really good time to be in there. And then finally, I'm just watching GameStop. I'm not getting back into GameStop right now, but I'm watching it because GameStop is still retail's favorite as far as like meme retail type people who are just not major traders. But this is where a lot of money just pours in because of the like the cult-like following around it. And let's be honest, it still has massive potential. So I'm watching this to see if this destabilizes short selling at all, hedge funds, because that would have major repercussions for DJT, Finger, and so on and so forth. So really, it's really a good time, in my opinion, to be in any of these stocks, because I see, to me, I think they've all bottomed out in the last couple of months, and now they're all gaining strength and consolidating strength and getting ready to do something. That's my personal opinion. It's not financial advice, but I'm actually very excited right now to be where we're at in these stocks. And coming into the new year, despite what the economy may do, despite what the stock market might do, I think these stocks are all going to move well. I just showed you guys how the Dow's down 7 straight days. The small caps and the S&P been down for 10 straight days. These are modern records. Hasn't happened in years. And yet all those going down and these stocks keep moving up. That's a good sign for us. That's a good sign for us, even though GameStop did have a bad day yesterday, but it's still been mostly good lately. As you can see on this 5-day this week, it really went up early in the week, but mostly up, and then just the last day finally. But I don't think that's going to last with the Roaring Kitty coming back and getting excitement back. So we'll see how that happens. Hot Rod says, came for the stocks, stayed for your transparency and honesty. Great channel from a silent lurker. Oh, Hot Rod, that means a lot. Thank you. And thanks for coming out and coming out of your silence to say that. That means a lot. Max says, DJT, someone got margin called on 36. You think so? It's possible, very possible, dividend warrant issued by second week January. Really? For Finger? No, that'd be huge. Jack says, same here. Got my fingers crossed for Monday. No pun intended for Finger. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm watching carefully Finger early next week. Yeah, I think. Also, it's the week before Christmas. So next week, if there's going to be big moves in the stock market, it's going to be next week, because the following week is Christmas and then New Year's, and the markets kind of grind to a halt. So interesting stuff. But on that note, guys, covered what I wanted to cover for the day. I hope you guys have a great weekend. God bless you all. Members, you'll be seeing me soon. I'll let you know whether it's tonight or tomorrow. But we're going to get together and have a good time. As usual, talk about, well, whatever we talk about. Members' lives can go anywhere. It gets really interesting. But anyways, appreciate you guys. Please like, share, subscribe before you leave. And as always, thank you for the support. as we come into this new year, I'm just very grateful for you all and for how you've just supported my channel. So let's end in a prayer and get out of here. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the weekend. Bless everybody, God. Pray they get rested this weekend, have fun with friends and family, and just pray that everybody here is able to have a good Christmas and a great new year, finishing out this year. And that next year, no matter what happens with the economy, with the stock market, that everybody here just has the best year they've ever had. Bless them, Lord. And we just pray, as always, for our leadership with President Trump and his team. You keep them safe and get them to January 20th. And from there, keep the momentum on so we can get our country changed in major ways. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, God bless you guys. Patrice says real quick, is DJT and GameStop connected? They're not connected in any front-facing way, but the hedge funds are connected in the fact that they all kind of short the same stocks. They all work together. One pulls from another they're called in baskets, and GameStop and DJT are in what's called a basket of these meme stocks and shorted stocks. And so they can trigger one another. And it's also why sometimes you see one go down while the other goes up, because they're pulling from one to fight the other one from popping off, stuff like that. So Pedro does really good work on this. If you want to look him up on X, I share his stuff all the time. So, all right, that'll do it. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you.